Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today we're talking about these spawns in Modern Warfare again, but not about how bad they are. We already know that. In fact, I made a video about how bad they are, just sort of cathartically ranting about the problem with the spawns, and the comment section was essentially in full agreement with me. Great. No one told me I had a skill issue, nobody told me I was playing the game wrong. Everyone said, yeah, it does suck, what are you gonna do? The game needs to be fixed. And there is something about the fact that nobody told me I had a skill issue, nobody said it was my problem, nobody said I was just complaining, that got my gears turning. Suddenly I wanted to find a workaround, suddenly I wanted to find out how to get good. If you're like me and you want to enjoy Modern Warfare 2 in spite of its problems, then there's certain workarounds you have to do for some of the stuff that's currently broken in the game. And this video is a little bit of a callback because when I first started this channel when I was a teenager, I had a series called Mindset where I talked about changing your mentality when playing the game in order to do better. And this is sort of like that. It's less foofy and a little bit more practical tactical, but it is something that you probably are gonna have to weave into your playstyle by changing the way you look at engagements in this game. So first you have to understand how the spawning system works and why it's so broken. The spawns are doing two things simultaneously, trying to get you back in the action and trying to put you next to your teammates. So every time you kill an enemy, you have to assume that wherever it puts them is going to be close to the action and close to their teammates. Meaning, don't trust your footstep audio or your minimap or your heartbeat sensor or your snapshot grenade, especially since a lot of the things that spot people have hard counters like Ghost and Cold Blooded, and instead trust the fact that the spawns are going to try to screw you up. If you kill an enemy, you're not done. And this is sort of the mindset you have to go into the game with now. Where there's one, there's two. That's it, that's the mantra you repeat. And where there's two, there's three, and if there's three, there might be four, and if it's four, it might as well be five, and if it's five, it could be six. Okay, so just assume that there's more enemies around. That's not really much of a tip, but it actually is. Because the way we play is we get a kill, and then we try to sprint forward and gain the ground that we just took over by killing the person. We move forward. Already, that's been a bad idea in most shooters, because people can tell when their teammates die. When my teammate disappears off the minimap, I see them in the kill feed. If I'm talking to them, they're a friend of mine, and I hear them go, oh, I just died, they're coming towards you. You know, there's tons of indicators. You might have a little skull that says, hey, your teammate just died here. The person that killed your teammate might not be using a suppressed weapon. You know, there's lots of different ways you can tell that somebody was just killed. In fact, if I listed all of them off, this video would be 7 minutes, 10 minutes long. So already it's been a bad idea to get a kill and then immediately reload, or get a kill and immediately sprint forward. It's a habit we get into though. We have that momentum. We want to push in, we want to get more kills, so we keep going where the enemies are coming from. But now instead of thinking, the enemies might have seen me kill that person or might be now looking in this direction after I got that kill, which you should already be doing anyways, you should assume that whoever you just killed is spawning nearby and is spawning near teammates. Meaning that where there's one, there's likely two enemies. So after you get a kill, you stay aimed down sight. You use things that allow you to spot people easier. Then you also use things to keep you a little bit stealthier and off the minimap, using the tracker perk and a suppressor, subsonic ammunition firing weapons, or blackout rounds. You do things that make you just that much harder, that smidgen harder to detect. Then you consistently keep your gun up after engagements, because the way the spawn system is gonna work is it's gonna try to make sure your enemies are grouped together. So if the enemies are grouped together more often than not, and enemies are spawning nearby engagements more often than not, just repeat to yourself, where there's one, there's two. And if there's two, there might be three, and just have that mentality. Yes, this means that you should maybe be getting kills and then backing up instead of going forward, or getting kills and waiting in that area, pre-aiming the next possible lane someone's gonna come from. Maybe you should be doing that. This hasn't really helped me with enemies that spawn behind you or get flank routes on you, because there's nothing you can really do with that in Call of Duty. Just try to keep an eye on the minimap. If you have a big blank space on the minimap with no teammates around behind you, likely an enemy is either running through there or is about to spawn there. That's all you can really hope to predict. The thing that bothers me in this game is that every enemy seems to have a friend, even if that friend doesn't know they're helping their friend. Like, they're not moving together to work together, they just keep happening to end up next to each other because of this awful spawn system. So that's what I want you to work on. I just want you to get ready for there always being a second one. And again, larger magazines, suppressors, stealth perks. The tracker perk is really useful at hiding all the little skulls above the enemies you kill. I also recommend running quick fix or stim so you always have enough health for your next gunfight. And if you want more security from being spotted or found out, I recommend running cold-blooded. I recommend running proximity mines. I recommend running a launcher to shoot down UAVs. I recommend doing things that make it harder for enemies to find you and sneak up on you. You can't do anything 100% with this perk system, but you can optimize the game so that it's screwing you over a little less. The way I would practice this mentality, if you wanted to practice it, is to remind yourself to be a little bit more cautious, run extended mags in your fully automatic or even semi-auto weapons. That's going to weigh you down. That's going to keep you from sprinting forward as much because your gun's heavier, your sprint to fire time's worse. So a heavier mag is going to remind you to keep your feet planted, and also it's going to give you more ammo to deal with multiple opponents. So if you want to remind yourself, hey, don't run into bullets, stupid, run extended mags on your weapons so you are reminded not to be careless and to keep your gun up after engagements. It also goes without saying, I'm not encouraging you to camp and play like a static little idiot. Just always be prepared for the next gunfight. Keep your gun centered on the next doorway, keep your gun centered on the next hallway or head glitch, because likely an enemy is going to be coming from there right after you get your next kill. When I say run claymores and proximity mines, I don't mean sit in a corner, I mean throw them behind you and then sprint off in a direction. Put them somewhere that would let you know if enemies have flipped spawns. I think a lot of people get annoyed with Call of Duty when all they do is run fast hands, Simtex, flashbang, and they're not using all the different tools that could be letting them know they're being flanked. They're not using the tools that are making them harder to detect in gunfights. This game is so tool-oriented. You have two field upgrades. You have your lethal and your tactical. We have a ton of lethals and tacticals in this game. Then you have all the crazy attachments, and it's just really up to you to build a survivability class. Again, this isn't about camping, this is about surviving. This is about staying alive and getting streaks. If you want to be careless, more reckless, more balls to the wall, get the occasional UAV or cluster mine or whatever, but mostly just rip into enemies, fine, go for it. If you can do that, then do that. But if you're trying to get VTOLs and chopper gunners and AC-130s, then just repeat to yourself, where there's one, there's two, and then optimize not getting snuck up on and not getting surprised. It's up to you. I want to thank you guys for not telling me I have a skill issue with the spawn system and telling me it's bad, because it encouraged me to try to think up workarounds. It's not perfect. I still want them to rework these spawns. I still want these spawns to be fixed, but I enjoy playing the game in spite of this really bad experimental spawn system that they're doing. So if I want to enjoy the game, I'm going to have to actually adapt to it instead of, you know, being a little piss baby about it. I'm already a piss baby about it. I might as well also get a couple clean kills off of it as well. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Funny enough, I came up with this concept while live streaming, and I come up with a lot of interesting video concepts while live streaming. I talk a lot about different video ideas and life problems and all sorts of random stuff when I'm live. If you're interested in watching me when I'm live, hit the bell icon to get notified. When I go live, I usually use live streams to get gameplay for my weapon reviews. In fact, most of the gameplay you're seeing here was gotten on stream, so if you want to make fun of these deaths that are happening in this gameplay live, again, hit the bell icon, come pick on me, and if you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is to hit me with a PayPal donation while I'm live. That way, at least I can thank you when it happens. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out and watching this, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.